This is session 2 of the traffic and SEO training. In this video, we're going to talk about professional search engine optimization training so you can do SEO like a true pro.
So basically, I'm going to jump right in here. What is search engine optimization? For those that aren't aware, it's basically the act of publishing and marketing information in a way to improve search engine understanding of website content. It's arguably the best marketing strategy ever because it enables you to reach unlimited people with even the smallest budget. Now, I say that it's the best avenue ever, and that's not just because I teach on it and that I'm in this niche. It's basically because with SEO you can compete with some of the most competitive websites online, like Amazon.com, the MSN Shopping or NBC. I mean, you can compete with some of the biggest websites out there, Petco, PetSmart, and just with search engine optimization, you can compete with companies that have multi-million dollar advertising budgets. Just through the organic listings in Google. And when I'm talking about the organic listings, I'm talking about the main listings that you see in Google. So when you do a Google search, you see at the top side there is sponsored search results, and on the right hand side you've got sponsored results, and those are results, the pay-per-click spot where people are paying per click. And then you've got the results in the middle where about 85% of the real estate on that screen is taken up by the free side, which is called the organic side, and that's where most people are actually going to click on your links and find your information. And what's great about it is that it doesn't cost you anything to get ranked there. And so, as I talk about SEO, just keep in mind it stands for search engine optimization. And basically, it's just the act of publishing and marketing your information in a way to improve the search engine understanding of your website content. It's probably the easiest explanation. Basically, what we're going to talk about is things you can do with your site to make them make them search engine friendly so that people find your content and you get that free traffic. Here's a few little quick search engine statistics. The only three main search engines to worry about are Google, Yahoo, and MSN. Basically, there's literally thousands of other little mini search engines, but Google, Yahoo, and MSN actually make up for about 95+% of all searches. Google alone gets 75% of all searches. And then some of the smaller search engines like Lycos and Hotbot and some of these other ones, their results are actually come as a result of Google. Google or Yahoo or MSN, one of those search engines drives those companies' results and a lot of the smaller search engines. So in all actuality, it's really pretty much like Google, Yahoo, and MSN own the search market. And there are little search engines, but you don't need to worry about them. Google gets 75% of all searches, so that's where you should focus your attention when you're doing search engine optimization and SEO and looking for traffic generation. Google's really where it's at. Now here's another interesting stat, but believe it or not, YouTube even receives more searches than Yahoo and MSN. That was a recent statistic that's come out. YouTube, when I say they receive searches, they have a search area on YouTube. And that shows you right there how powerful video marketing is, which we're going to cover video marketing in some upcoming lessons. We touched on it briefly last week, but we're going to cover it even more in depth in the upcoming lessons here. But that shows you how powerful video is for driving traffic. I mean, like I said, YouTube alone receives more searches than Yahoo and MSN. That means people are going to YouTube just to find random information. And what's powerful too is these YouTube rankings will come up in the Google search results, in the Yahoo search results, and the MSN search results. So, it kind of gives you, leverage when you're doing video marketing. I just wanted to point that statistic out though, and it shows you just how big the Google search engine actually is. Google is powerful, so you need to focus your efforts around them related to SEO. Every search engine basically looks for the same aspects, very similar components, but the one I really only worry about is Google, and let the other ones just fall into place where they may. And we're going to talk next here about relevancy and search engine optimization. The search engines make money, just so you know, with advertising, and they get people to perform searches by providing relevant results to their users. And so basically what that means is that Google, they get their money from advertising revenues. So all the pay-per-click ads and a lot of that stuff you see, that's how Google makes their income. And so they want people to perform searches on their site, and so they want people to come to their site often because they're finding the information that they want online. So basically, if you're typing in, Titleist Golf Club into a search engine, the expected result is to find a Titleist golf club. The user is not trying to look for, they don't want to find information on a Callaway golf club. That's a totally different brand of golf club. Even worse yet, the person doesn't want to find information on golf bags or golf balls. They're there to find information about a Titleist golf club in this example. That's a brand of golf club. Same thing, it might be a Panasonic HD TV. They didn't particularly look for a Sony HD TV. They were looking for a Panasonic HD TV. So what would happen if the search engines weren't providing relevant results to their users? The people would leave and go to another search engine to find what they want. They'd find a search engine that gave them better results. And so that's why Google and the other search engines, they want, relevant results at the top. They want your site to rank at the top, believe it or not, contrary to popular belief. They want you to have, good content. And I'm going to show you how to provide that content to Google in a way that is relevant, in a non-spammy way, so that the search engines will love your site and display it. Because it's look at it kind of like a partnership. You want to partner up with Google to help them achieve their business objective, and in return they're going to help you drive a lot of traffic. You want them, their business objective is to get users coming to their site looking for relevant results. And that's really their sole purpose online, is to get people to use their search engines. So they do everything they can to make sure relevant results are coming up. And so that's something very important to keep in mind here, and that's why I brought this slide up here. Search engines have a very vested interest in providing the best results possible, as I covered. So I just want to make that point one more time. They have a very vested interest in making this possible because that's their main business. I apologize for the background noise if you hear anything. We're actually in the middle of a huge storm here in Oklahoma, so so I do apologize if anybody hears that. We've got piles of rain and thunder and stuff. Okay, but you need to make your pages and your website as relevant as possible, and that's what we're going to talk about here in the upcoming slides. There are several different on-page optimization factors that you can do to make your pages on your website search engine friendly and more relevant for the search engines. And so I'm going to talk about relevancy because that's so important. If your site is relevant for the search engines, it will rank higher in the search results. So now in order to make your site relevant, you need to focus on keyword phrases. And so after this slide talking about keywords, I'm actually going to touch on relevance. But I want to talk to you guys real quick about keyword phrases because that has to do with relevancy, because the keywords are what makes your site relevant for the search engine results. Like I was using that Titleist Golf Club example before. If you are selling Titleist golf clubs, if you happen to be an affiliate for them, or let's say you're a golf store in let's say you're a golf pro shop in let's say Jacksonville, Mississippi or something, or Jackson, Mississippi. Let's say Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, there we go. So you are a golf pro shop, Jacksonville, Florida, and you want people to come to your pro shop. That's the kind of relevancy. Those are the kind of keywords you would want to use on your site. And so I want to narrow down here though, so you first understand how do you find the most profitable keywords for your campaign, because that's where all this relevancy, that's where all these on-page factors are going to stem from. And so I want to start here with the keywords. Now some of you have probably seen this slide in some of my other presentations. But I want to touch on this one more time so it really hits home because it's a very important part of this process. So the first phrase here, a generic word or phrase, those are low value keywords with high competition and they have poor conversions. And those would be keywords like pets or real estate or even just football. Those are just generic keyword phrases. They're not going to get you the results you want. That'd be like golf, as another example. Then you've got a category level keywords. They have a little higher value and they are a little easier to rank for. And those are keywords like pet supplies, Oklahoma real estate, and college football. And they're still not easy to rank for because those are still highly competitive. But they're a little higher value. And the reason they're higher value keywords is because people are a little closer to finding what they want. Like, I'm going to just throw this out there so you understand where I'm going with this. But if somebody types in digital cameras, that's kind of a, or cameras, that's a generic phrase. A category keyword would be like, digital cameras. Subcategory would be like 10 megapixel digital cameras, and then a specific topic would be Kodak 10 megapixel digital camera. That'd be a specific topic because it's a specific brand. And you're going to find that the specific topic keyword phrases, they may not get you the most traffic, but they're going to get you the highest value of visitor. It's kind of like if somebody types in a subcategory keyword phrase, they type in like Sacramento real estate and or pet supplies online. They want to buy pet supplies online. But if they're typing in automatic pet feeders, there is no doubt in your mind what they're looking for. If you type in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma apartment complexes, there's no doubt in your mind what they want. If you type in, Walla Walla, Washington, Walla Walla, Washington, winery, you know what they want. They want to look for a winery in Walla Walla, Washington, or they want to find a lawyer in, Sacramento, California, lawyer. They're not just going to type in lawyers, California, because California lawyers could mean every single city in California. That could be, a little hairy. And so you want to find and target these specific topic keyword phrases because a lot of people, will sit there and say, well, it's great to rank for real estate because it gets millions of visitors. Well, the phrase real estate, that could be everything from commercial real estate, regular real estate, apartments, somebody wanting just to learn about real estate. You really don't know what their goal is. And when they're typing in specific keywords, like maybe they're typing in diet information, weight loss information, weight loss tips. Those are keyword phrases people know what they want. They want weight loss tips. If they type in acai berry weight loss tips or acai berry weight loss, that's a little more targeted. And so I want you to keep that in your mind when you're doing your keyword research. So we're going to talk a little about how to find your keywords. You want to put yourself in your customer's shoes. What problem does my product or service solve for my typical customer? Ask yourself that question. See what people are searching for to find your website. You can use Google Analytics. It's free to set up. You could use Webalizer or you could use AW Stats. If you are using a control panel account with cPanel like HostGator or Bluehost, they come equipped with Webalizer and AW Stats. And those are located inside your control panel. And then Google Analytics is something you can find by just going to search engines and looking up Google Analytics. So just type in Google Analytics and it'll be the first result you see. And they'll show you how to install it on your website. And so that's something you want to use because it will tell you what kind of keywords people are looking for to find your website already. And it will kind of amaze you that even though you may not be doing much SEO now, you're amazed that people are accidentally still finding your site. So once you start doing SEO, it can make a huge impact for you. And you also want to consider related keywords. So if you're in the pet niche, it might be like, pet supplies might consider keywords like dog supplies or cat supplies or bird supplies as an example. So I'm going to show you on screen here next how to actually do keyword research. So the AdWords keyword tool, it's an absolutely free keyword tool that I love to use. And so I'm going to just click on that and we're going to pull up the window here. So we've got here on our screen the AdWords keyword tool is up on the screen. I'm going to just bring it over here for the recording. So right here in the AdWords keyword tool, you're going to notice it's going to ask you to enter one keyword or phrase per line. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in a main keyword phrase. So what I'm going to type in here is your main keyword. So if your main keyword phrase, let's just say it is golf balls or golf clubs. Golf clubs is your main keyword phrase. But see, that's not your highest value keyword phrase as we've discussed, but it might be, it's a keyword that gets a fair amount of searches. And that little random letter sequence that I typed in there, that's actually just, the standard, form to prevent spammers. And so you just fill that in and then choose Get Keyword Ideas. And then you'll wait just a moment. And what this is going to do, this tool is going out there into the Google database and it's pulling up the search results from Google. So it's pulling up a variety of different search results, from the Google results. And you're going to see here, right inside here, you're going to see it says, like advertiser competition, it says local search volume, and it says global search volume. So like global search volume is more like, like it says right here in this tab, it shows the approximate number of monthly number of search queries matching each keyword phrase. So this is kind of on a monthly basis. And so that's a lot of keyword for, people looking up these different topics. And, so basically it's kind of a monthly number. And it kind of gives you some idea of to how they're finding this data. Now the local data and the global data will sometimes be kind of skewed at this point, but the main thing you're looking for is you're just looking for volume. You're looking for keyword phrases that have searches over 1,000 or a couple thousand that are decent keyword phrases to go after. And so one thing you want to do then is go right over here and you want to do a search by clicking right there. It'll actually sort them out by how many people are looking up these various keyword phrases. Now you notice here golf clubs and golf club are two different searches, and that's something that we'll talk about here in a moment, but believe it or not, they actually are different. So that's something to keep in mind. Google will look at results actually different. I'll actually just prove that to you here in a quick little search on Google. So if you go to Google here and we were to type in, let's say, golf clubs, you notice the result, and then if we type in golf club, it changed. You notice the result changed by just taking off the by basically just taking off the S. The result totally changed. And so if you add the S, so it's plural, you see the results here. It's totally different. So that's something important and something that's really something you want to keep an eye out for, because Google looks at them as completely different, quite a bit different keyword phrases. They have some of the similar results, but they're all not the same. It's not the same keyword phrases. So that's very important. So you see here, you've got a variety of keywords here that it sorts through. Now, what I look for is I'm trying to just find a keyword phrase that has a fair amount of searches. Something north of 25,000 is good. On a monthly basis. And it doesn't even have to, even the lowest things like equipment golf clubs, hybrid golf clubs. Keywords like that. It doesn't have to be a keyword that has tons and tons of searches either. It can be a smaller keyword phrase that has maybe 1,000 searches. Because it's going to, a lot of times people will not target keyword phrases if they don't see any, if they feel like, well, it's only got 1,000 searches or it's only got 700 searches, I'm not going to look for that. Well, like if you look at this keyword right here, Callaway pre-owned golf clubs, that keyword is only searched for 720 times a month. So a lot of people are going to say, well, that's no good. That's not a good keyword phrase. Well, if you can rank at the top of the search engines, and you can get, even half those people or even a tenth of those people on a monthly basis, that's about 100 visitors to a specific page on your site. That's like having a store that has 100 potential customers walking in. And I'll guarantee you, if somebody's typing in Callaway pre-owned golf clubs, and maybe you're an affiliate for eBay or something of that nature, or you're optimizing for Callaway used golf clubs or pre-owned golf clubs, you're getting a targeted buyer. They know what they want. They want a used golf club from Callaway. They're not just looking for used golf clubs. They're looking for Callaway used golf clubs. And so that's something to keep in mind. You've got lady golf club set. That's a pretty decent keyword phrase. And so, it's just a matter, you just want to look for keywords that have numbers in this column. Sometimes you'll see not enough data. And so I tend to kind of steer away from those keyword phrases. So when you found a keyword phrase, it's just a matter of browsing through here, typing in your main keyword phrase, so kind of your main niche. So you might type in like weight loss into this category here, weight loss, and then just type in get keyword ideas. And you'll notice here, you've got, weight loss diet program, weight loss program. It's got, it's a little easier to rank for because it's called more of a long tail keyword. It has 3 or 4 different words to it. Like here's one: free weight loss programs, quick weight loss center, vegetarian weight loss eating. All these searches have a fair amount of volume. And this number here that you're seeing, it's not going to be 100% accurate all the time. I just want you to keep that in mind. The number you see is not what you get. There's times when this number, it could be way off, or it could, way off on the high end or way off on the low end. It kind of can fluctuate and vary. So don't look at this number like the gospel truth, but look at it as an indicator as to the volume of your various keyword phrases. So that's very important to keep in mind. And you want to find keyword phrases that you're really targeting your main site for. You want, like on your main page, you want to go after those keywords that get you a lot of different searches. Like if you're a finance website, you might be doing something like, small business loans. That might be your keyword phrase if you're doing like business financing or something. So you're trying to get ranked for, small business loans, because that has quite a few searches, about 200,000. But you notice here, when you type that in, you'll find a lot of different keyword phrases that you could create content around, So you might have a keyword like let's say, weight loss, or let's say bird watching, for example. And so you type in bird watching as a niche. Well, here's the main keyword you're trying to go after. Maybe you have a site about bird watching binoculars, and it's all about bird watching binoculars as your main keyword phrase. But then you've also got on top of that additional content pages that you could write about, different pages you could add to your site that optimize these additional keyword phrases. And so you can use this tool when you're trying to come up with article ideas, when you're trying to identify article results. When you're trying to sit there and identify, okay, what kind of content could I write on my niche topic? So let's say it is a life coach, as an example. Maybe you're a life coach to help people with personal development. So we do a Google search on life coach, you'll see 201,000. You see life coaching, 110,000. Life coach training, become a life coach, personal life coaching courses, life coach jobs, Christian life coach, certified life coach, and it just goes on and on. These are all potential keyword phrases that you could, what I like to do, the best thing you can do to get yourself the best result is find a keyword that has a lot of searches, a fair amount of searches. Try to target your main, your main site around that one. Like life coach training, it's got a good amount of searches. It's not all that, extremely competitive like life coach is, but what's interesting is you'll notice here, look what's at the beginning of that keyword, life coach. So you also are optimizing not only for life coach, but life coach training. So I hope you guys can kind of see that. And so beyond that, on your life coach site, create an article around each one of these subject matters that you see. Each one of these are topics that people are looking for, and it gives you article content ideas to write about. Now, one other thing I'll do on top of using the AdWords keyword tool is I will also go and use the free word tracker tool. Word tracker is another keyword research software. I personally don't pay for the upgrade, but you could if you wanted to. But I just use the free keywords tool from Word Tracker, and you could just type in your main keyword phrase here again. So let's say that we find a keyword phrase here, like let's say life coach training as an example, and I was going to copy that keyword phrase. Now keep in mind here, this is important to note, Google's results here are monthly, Word Tracker's results are going to be daily. So it's going to be daily results. Now, you notice here life coach training is now down to 62 searches. But what that means is that there are 62 searches per day within the Word Tracker system. And the Word Tracker system is actually feeding results from Yahoo and other places. It's not actually feeding their results from Google. So you could actually multiply that number by, quite a bit more. I usually multiply it by about 10 times, 10 to 12 times this number. So you take this number, multiply that by 10 or 12 times. About 10 or 12 times 30. So let's pull up the calculator here. So we have 62 times, let's say 10, that's 620 searches a day times 30 for the year or for the month, on average, and that's about 19,000 searches, so. And then if you go back to Google, you'll see it's showing around 9,000. So you can notice that these results are never going to be 100% accurate as to the number of searches it's actually getting. You're just looking for volume. You're looking for some significant volume, some decent size volume, so that you're getting keyword phrase that gets traffic, because you don't want to build your business on a dead end road. You want to build it where the traffic's at. You want to play in the traffic, as a business partner of mine says. So that's something you want to do. You want to be where the people are. So like McDonald's, they, a great example. Another great business friend of mine talked about, where if McDonald's were to build a franchise, they're not going to go build it on some side road. They're going to build it where the traffic's at, where the people are. So you want to build your sites where the traffic's at. That's why it's so important to do keyword research to find actual keyword phrases. So I like to combine these sites because what it tells me is that, okay, both of these keyword tools identify to me that there is traffic for this keyword phrase. So I use these tools in tandem, to determine the best keyword phrases. So again, the free word tracker tool, you just plug in your information right there and you go to town with it. So you just type that in and you're off to the races. So hope this gives you a nice little overview of using keyword research tools. So we're going to jump right back here. There's also one other thing you can do with the Google tool that I'm going to actually show you real fast. You can actually search within your competitor websites for additional keyword phrases. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So you notice here, if we were to go and let's just think of a niche. Let's just type in the word, let's just say rock climbing as a niche. I'm just typing that in. So let's say you happen to be in the rock climbing niche. And again, this applies if you're a lawyer. This applies in whatever niche you are. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, if you are a local business, because we have some people taking this training that are local businesses, and let's say you are a Tulsa chiropractor, because that's an example I was using. So Tulsa chiropractor on the keyword research side, you're probably going to find not. Sometimes you might even find your main keyword phrases don't have tons and tons of searches. For them, some may show even not many searches, but it's very important that you're optimizing for those because Google sometimes will not give you. They'll sometimes show you this not enough data number when they really don't have tons of data. They haven't pulled it. Doesn't mean that keyword's not being searched for. So in those local search cases, you need to determine what keyword phrases your customers are going to find you for. And those are keywords like, if I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma and I want a chiropractor, I'm going to type in Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor. I'm going to type in Tulsa chiropractors. I'll type in Tulsa chiropractors okay. Tulsa okay chiropractors. Same thing for dentists. It might be Chicago, Illinois dentist, Illinois dentist, Chicago dentist. You get the idea there. So don't get discouraged if you don't see any searches, for your niche. Just, if you're in a city, especially if you're in a smaller city, it's still important that you're targeting keyword phrases, with your keywords, but just think up some keyword phrases that your customers would use, and that's for the local results. But if you're trying to go on like a national scale, rank for keywords like Titleist Golf Club and things like that on a national scale, you want to try to narrow down what kind of volume you're working from. So now here in this rock climbing example, I want to show you how to use another tool to find some more keyword phrases. If I was in the rock climbing niche, I would just type in rock climbing, and I would just go right over here and copy the URL, rockclimbing.com here. And whatever niche it is, you can do this for any of your competitor websites. And you're going to go to the AdWords keyword tool again, and there's an option here that says website content, and you're going to just plug in your URL there that you selected. In this case, it's rockclimbing.com. So just grab rockclimbing.com and include other pages on my site linked from this URL. So you could, as one strategy, is to include other pages on the site that are linked from this URL because a lot of times rock climbing sites or a rock climbing site will link off to other rock climbing sites, just like a legal site might link to other legal websites, and things like that because they offer similarities in value. So what you're going to do then is go by get keyword ideas, and it's going to scour this website. It's actually analyzing the website for you, and it's going to take about a minute, and so just be a little patient here. And it's analyzing the website, and what it's going to do is actually pull up and tell us what kind of keyword phrases they are actually going after, and it gives you some additional keyword phrase terms to consider going after. Now this is a really powerful tool because it kind of narrows things down into little niches for yourself. So you see here, if you do this search, and you can click on that button to sort them by how many searches you have. Rock climbing shoes, that's an entire niche in itself, and so you could identify, and so like if you're in a niche and you see stuff like this and you're not targeting those kind of keyword phrases, you could say, wow, I didn't know rock climbing itself could be a niche. I need to be focusing on that too. I need to add that to my arsenal. So you see here, rock climbing shoes in this example is right there, rock climbing shoe without the S, mad rock climbing shoes, 510 rock climbing shoes, discount rock climbing shoes, evolve rock climbing shoes. All these came from me analyzing a competitive website, and I identified some additional keywords. So here's under rock climbing indoor, rock climbing gear, rock climbing equipment, rock climbing gym. It goes on and on and on. So that's another powerful way to use this Google AdWords keyword tool. Just like Google's the leader in search, I feel like Google has some of the leading tools that you can use to identify keyword phrases. And they have this set up for people, using AdWords to identify keywords to go after. But you can also use it, obviously for SEO to identify your keyword phrases. So I would definitely use not only the search feature, so descriptive words or phrases where you type in your niche, I would also use website content because even if you think, okay, well, I have no clue, but I know this is a site that's a competitor of mine, just put in that URL and then it will pull up some other ideas for you. Like here's rock climbing as an idea. Okay, and so then you go right back over here and say, okay, I'm going to consider indoor rock climbing. So you just type in indoor rock climbing in here, and you're off to the races, because you're going to notice here indoor rock climbing, and you'll notice it's going to bring up a whole nother list of results just related to indoor rock climbing. And so finding content for you to write about, there should be no issues whatsoever, because you're going to notice here, like basically I tend to focus more on the global side with Google, just so you know. You're going to notice here a lot of these say not enough data, but you see some that have some search volume within them. So it's something for you to look at and say, okay, even though they have very little competition, these are keywords that I could rank for and get some traffic for. Like indoor rock climbing in NYC, New York City, indoor rock climbing supplies, indoor rock climbing Buffalo, New York, indoor rock climbing Massachusetts. So you get the idea. But rock climbing itself, indoor rock climbing had 130 additional keyword phrases that Google had within their database somewhere. So it's very important to do keyword research before you start taking on, this stuff, because you need to make your sites relevant for these keywords. And so now that you kind of have an understanding of keyword research, I'm going to dig into some more ways to optimize your site. But we're going to continue real quick here with where we left off. So what you can do then is, run Google searches is another strategy that I found to identify keyword phrases. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's just pull up a Google search window here, which I have. And if I were in, let's just throw out another niche market here. And let me just say, let's say personalized jewelry was my niche. So you are a jeweler and you did personalized jewelry. We type in personalized jewelry into Google. Now, a lot of this stuff right now I'm doing is unrehearsed. So, you guys can see it's very, very alive. So you can kind of see how I think. So type in personalized jewelry. That's your main niche. And then scroll to the bottom of Google. And they have a feature here where it says searches related to personalized jewelry. And it says personalized gold jewelry, sterling silver personalized jewelry. These are related searches that Google has identified that other people look for when they're in this niche. So now you type in personalized gold jewelry, you click on that, and it will narrow down even more results. And it will say, okay, so have you considered custom made gold jewelry, Ferguson jewelry custom rings, antique custom jewelry, custom gold chains? So then you click on that, and you kind of get the idea, because it kind of helps you identify, okay, here's personalized gold necklaces. That's a keyword I hadn't thought about. So you take that keyword phrase and you copy it, and you can come right over here to the AdWords keyword tool again. And you can kind of now, I hope, understand how this tool works together. And I'm spending a lot of time on this keyword research part just because keyword research is so vital to your online business. It's a very, very important aspect to your web business. So you type in personalized gold necklaces, and you notice that does have some search volume behind it. So that's getting about 1,900 searches. Personalized gold necklace without the S is about 3,600. It's got quite a few more searches. So that could tell you, okay, I should target some page around personalized gold necklaces. Or maybe I should start selling them. Or maybe I should do an ebook on how to take care of your personalized gold necklace. Whatever the case might be, you get the idea of how you can, just by using regular Google search results, you can identify more keywords to go after that you may not have uncovered even in the AdWords tool. Or sometimes you could just start with the regular Google search to start identifying some keywords that don't have tons of competition, because like pet supplies, that's tough to rank for. But you start doing things like like pet feeders, and you're going to start seeing, okay, that's getting a little more narrow. And then you start doing things like automatic pet feeders. And this is a site that I'm a very small owner on, but you'll notice here, we compete. There's sites, Amazon, some other big sites that are trying to compete for that, eBay, and a few others, out there that are trying to go for these different keyword phrases. And that's all just because of powerful SEO strategies. And so let's just jump right back in here. And another thing, you can do the same thing I just showed you with Google using the MSN Live search. You can just go to msn.com or live.com, L-I-V-E, and run a search on their search engine. And on the right-hand side, as it is right now, they have what I just showed you in Google at the bottom. They give you related searches. Google Insights, that's another really powerful tool. And I'll show you that real fast, and then we'll jump back to a little more content here. The Google Insights tool is another fabulous tool for you to use in your arsenal. And so let's just pull that tool up here. And you're going to see here where it says all search terms, or excuse me, it says search terms. And so you want to add your search terms. So it might be, let's say tennis is your search term, because that's kind of your broad niche. And I want to identify what I'm doing here. So you want to put in kind of your broad niche here because you kind of want to see what's been going on with your niche over time. And you're going to notice here that there's a variety of different elements that you can gather from just typing in tennis or your main niche here. You'll notice here this is the interest over time dating back to January 2004. And you notice how it fluctuates and kind of goes up and down. Notice how it might be going down slightly. It's on its way back up. You can also notice, look at this. There is a big interest for tennis in Australia. There is a huge interest in France and Switzerland, and the United States is clear down at number 8 for tennis. You would also notice, as you keep going, that top searches are table tennis, believe it or not. Gets more searches than US Open tennis or tennis games or other tennis shoes even or something of that. Those are other hot keyword phrases that you could consider because you could create a whole niche around table tennis because you see in the tennis niche that actually gets more searches than regular tennis. Rising searches, you're going to notice here, Wii Tennis. Virtua Tennis 3, it's like a game. Tennis warehouse. So if you had a site in that niche, you could find keyword phrases because it's telling you they're trending. It gives you an insight into what the market's doing. Here's another example. Let me just show you one more example here, and then we'll move on. Type in weight loss as an example. And not every keyword phrase will actually come up here, but most will. So you're going to notice here weight loss. In the United States, it's more popular. It's the most popular keyword phrase of all the countries. Weight loss diet is a top search term. Lose weight, weight loss pills. And so you can use this tool synergistically together with the Google AdWords keyword tool. I'll show you one more time what I'm talking about. Do a Google Insights search, look up weight loss diet. So you do search for weight loss diet right here because Google Insights tells you that's a top search with the term weight loss in it. So weight loss diet. I jump right over here to the AdWords keyword tool. I click on this. I follow through their little steps. And I pull up a whole list of keywords just with weight loss diet within those keyword phrases. Now I've got, another 100 or 70 or so keywords just around weight loss diet. Every single one of these keywords could be an additional article for you to submit through an article directory. It could be an additional an additional article to put on your website. And all this stuff's going to work together to increase your traffic because you're having more content. You're going to notice, Ally weight loss, that's a breakout. That means tons of people are looking for it. Biggest Loser, that's a TV show. These are all additional keywords that if you had a site around weight loss, you could focus on. Or you could even develop an entire niche around these. So it's also kind of a great tool for niche research. I'll show you, I said one more result, but I'm going to show you one more here for a local market. Like let's say Chicago dentist, for example. And we'll see if it even shows up here. And it does. It does actually show up some results here. And you'll notice here that it's pretty stable. People are looking for Chicago dentist. Not surprising, most of them are in the US when they're looking for that. And it will tell you their top searches. Dentist in Chicago, Chicago Dental, Dentist Chicago IL, Illinois, Dentist in Chicago, Cosmetic Dentist Chicago. So it tells you right here, okay, these are the keywords if you're a dentist that you should be going after. So I hope that this sticks with you and that you use this tool. It's a Google Insights tool and it's very, very powerful. Google Trends, I don't have to show you that is. You can just click on that and it will actually show you trending topics, so keyword phrases that are trending. Obviously, you can look at competitor websites, you can look at competing websites, and you can look at their title tags to identify what keyword phrases they are targeting. I'll show you, what I mean here by title tags. So I clicked on here, and let's just go and look up google.com. What the heck? While I'm over here on Google Trends, why don't I just show you that? It bothers me to not show you this. Here is Google Trends. It will tell you you could type in search a trend, for example. So it could be, let's say, Titleist golf clubs. And I'm not really a golfer. I've got a friend that is, but I'm just using these as an example. But you'll notice here it tells you kind of a trend over time for that keyword phrase, Titleist golf clubs. Notice here how it like really drops off, but now it's become stable over the past several years, and it's kind of rising and going around. You might try, Nintendo Wii, and it will give you some examples. And it also, what's interesting with this Google Trends tool that I do want to indicate to you is it tells you what cities are actually doing the most searches on this particular topic. It'll tell you like Nintendo Wii, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania happens to be a city where more people are looking for that, according to this tool, than any in the United States. And look at all these United Kingdom sites that are interested in Nintendo Wii. So that's just an example. You type in your keyword phrase into Google Trends, and away you go. But if I go here to Google and let's just type in Nintendo Wii as an example. Let's say Nintendo Wii in stock, a little more narrow keyword phrase. This is the title tag, which I'm going to address here in a moment. This is the title tag, and so you could just type in your main niche, and all your competitors will come up, and you can look at their title tags to identify keywords they are using. The blue clickable part is your title tag. So let's just jump right down here to the presentation. And then you can also go to ezinearticles.com. It's an article directory, and browse through your category and look at the titles of the articles and look at what keyword phrases they're using in the titles. Because most of the time they will have done some of their research. But like I said, you can use the AdWords tool to identify some keyword phrases. So I'm going to keep going. I tried to keep this content down, but there is so much to cover with SEO. So remember plurals and synonyms like auto parts, car parts, automobile parts. Keep in mind merged and hyphenated words, even misspellings. Like I said, plurals and synonyms, like when I was saying car part or car parts, those would be different. Add keyword modifiers to your keywords. So things like buy Nintendo Wii, cheap pet supplies, best price Motorola. Those are all some indicators and examples of modifying keyword phrases. Like buy Nintendo Wii, that means they want a Nintendo Wii. Find Tulsa chiropractor. Find Chicago lawyer, find Los Angeles realtor, things like that. Add those keyword modifiers to your keywords, or add them into your keyword research tool and see if there's actually traffic for them. And so let's just jump over here. Looks like this similar slide. Okay, so next we have on-page search engine optimization. So at this point, you should have identified your main keyword phrases that you are going to go after. And I'm going to step you through the on-page process. One very, very important factor is title tags. Another important thing to consider is using your meta tags on your site. And the next very important strategy is your header tags within your site. And then we're going to cover your internal link structure, your URL structure, the links on your site, and the structure of your actual content. So here is the title tags that I'm going to talk about here. Title tags are very important, like I showed you in Google. It's the number one factor. They're the single most important on-page ranking factor out there. You should really, really take this to heart. This part to heart. If you take this into action this week and Google picks up the results you do, just by accident, you will start seeing an improvement in your search results. A lot of sites make the mistake of having their title tag read very just very random things like home, or it might say untitled, or their title tag isn't related. Their title tag might even just have their business name, which that doesn't do a business any good to have your title tag up there. You need to have keyword phrases. And a lot of businesses say, but I need that for branding. Well, put it at the end of your title tag, because if they know your business name, you already have them as a customer. You're in business and you're doing SEO to get new customers. So make sure you put your pride aside and go for your keyword phrases in your title tag. You need to have your keyword phrases. I cannot emphasize that. I'm very passionate about title tag part, because you cannot get by with SEO and you will not see an improvement in your search engine rankings if you do not focus on this factor. It's very important. It's near essential. It's a very essential part of search engine optimization. So now when you're looking at the code on your, on a particular page, this is what it's going to look like. And I'll show you here what I'm talking about here. If I were to pull up let's just say a random site here. Um, so I pull up this website right here as an example, and I go to view and I do page source. So notice I just did the search view and page source. You will notice here, right here, title, it's got their main keyword phrase, Nintendo Wii Tracker, find Nintendo Wii in stock. So notice they're using the keyword phrase Nintendo Wii Tracker because people were trying to track Nintendo Wiis when they were hard to find. So that was their main keyword phrase. And then Nintendo Wii in stock, that's a secondary keyword phrase they're trying to go for. Nintendo Wii in stock online, that's another long tail keyword phrase. You notice how they're using their title tag. And this, when you're inside of your web editor, like it might be a standard basic web editor, like there's some free ones called NVU. Some more common ones used are Front Page or Dreamweaver. And you click on the code view section of your website, you are going to see right inside the code view of your website, you will see the title tag. It would be between this wording, title, Title, with carets on the left and carets on the right. And then there's going to be another set that says title, but this one at the end is going to have a forward slash. And so inside that tag, that's where you write your keyword phrase in there. And oftentimes, by default, they will just call that tag, like untitled one or something like that. So that's something for you to keep in mind. So that is where you go with title tags. You want your keyword-rich title tag to show up right there. Now, if you're using WordPress, your main homepage title tag can be manipulated and changed by simply going inside your WordPress and changing the name of your site under the settings. And then you can also use a plugin called All-in-One SEO. It's just called All-in-One SEO. And you can use that plugin to actually change your title tags on your homepage. And so we're going to be covering WordPress later on in this training, not in this particular call, but in future ones. And we'll show you how to do that in there. But if you have any questions on that, contact me anytime this week regarding WordPress. As far as if you have any questions on changing your title tag, please ask because it's such an important part. The title tag should contain the exact phrase you are trying to rank for. The exact main keyword phrase should be at the very beginning because search engines read left to right. When I say SEO, that stood for search engines. Search engines read from left to right, just like we read. They will put more importance on your keyword if it's at the left than they would if it's more towards the right. They read left to right. They look at that, and so you want to try to have your main keyword phrase because that's going to tell them that is most important on that page. That page is going to be relevant, there's that word again, for the keyword phrase that you identified from the previous steps. You should try to repeat the keyword phrase or a plural/singular version of it somewhere in the title tag. That's going to help you get the best benefit possible. Now, I'm not saying that you just say your keyword phrase 3 times in a row or 2 times in a row even. Put it in there if it makes sense, and I'll show you some examples here. So for example, keep in mind that the singular and plural keyword phrases come up differently in the search engines, like I showed you. And that's why, golf club and golf clubs was 2 totally different search results. So that's why it's important, to go after those. Tulsa chiropractors and Tulsa chiropractor would bring up 2 different search results. Car dealership, car dealerships will bring up 2 different keyword phrases. So for example, laptops and laptop produce totally different results. So you want both of those in your title tag. Here's an example of how that works. Dog collars. Find the best dog collar for your dog. So that would be your title tag. Dog collars is your main keyword phrase with the S. Find the best dog collar for your dog. And what is interesting here is your title tag. It's also, you want to make it kind of salesy almost. Not really salesy, but so it reads well, so it sounds well, so it encourages the click. Because it's one thing to get people to your site, to come up in Google. It's another thing to encourage them to click among all the other options to click that they have on the Google search engine. So you want to make sure you sell the click. So dog collars, find the best dog collar for your dog. Notice I'm using the plural and singular there. Now weight loss, there's really not a plural of weight loss, but I'm trying to incorporate weight loss twice. Weight loss, your source for weight loss tips. Weight loss articles, your source for weight loss article, or weight loss tips or something like that. So you notice how I kind of bring those together. And these again were samples of good title tags. And I'll show you here, I'm going to jump off the page here one more time though, just so you understand again what the title tags are and where I was going with this. So let's just say here, I'm using the Google toolbar in case you're wondering. So you notice here, Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors. Notice here inside the title tags, and you guys will probably recognize this little ugly site that I designed just real quick, and I haven't even finished it. But notice I'm on the first page. That proves it right there. You all saw me with this website. But notice this title tag. I'm very proud of this title tag. Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractors. Find a Tulsa chiropractor today. So you notice how that's got the keyword phrase. So notice that again is the title tag. That is in the title tag of the website. That's what the search engines picked up. So there you have the title tag. And so there's that as an example. So if you have any questions this week about title tags, let me know, because as you see here, it's the most important factor, because these are all title tags that search engines are looking at and for. So let's go right over here to meta tags next. Meta tags and meta description. The meta tags, including the meta keywords and the meta description, they have a very minimal part of ranking, of making you rank high in the search engines, but they should be used. Now you probably say, why on earth would I say that? They have a minimal role. They used to play a big role until people started spamming them like crazy, and putting in keywords like Amazon, when their site was just about, their site was about a totally different subject like golf clubs. They're putting in Amazon or other random high searched for topics just in their meta keywords to try to rank for, because search engines used to rank them that way. Your meta description is especially important because it is what the search engines will typically pull from the search results to actually include below your title tag. So you need to include your main keyword phrase for the page in there and some sort of a call to action. I'll show you what I mean by this. So if we go right over here, and let's say, let's just use the Chicago dentist example. So you do a search here for Chicago dentist, and you notice here, web special, $1 exam, x-rays, or free teeth whitening. We accept insurance, gentle cleanings, veneers and braces, cosmetic and family dentistry. That's a nice meta description, because a lot of times what will happen is sites will basically, they won't put in anything special into their meta tags. And so what will happen is Google will go in there, kind of formulate their own little meta tag if they don't have one most of the time. Sometimes they'll just do it anyways. But a lot of the times what happens is Google will just formulate their own. So it does not look very exciting for people. So here's one, open 7 days a week. That's really good. Let me find one. These people have done pretty good on this first page. But let's see. Chicago Dentist Guide. Okay, so here's one. This isn't very exciting. Chicago Dentist Guide, 1833 Dentist Chicago, 1833 Dentist Chicago Reviews, Cosmetic Dentist, Endodontitis, Orthodontist, and all these other big words. That's not very exciting to read that in your meta description. That's not very exciting, and so, this is a lot more exciting. Web special, $1 exam and x-rays or free teeth whitening. That makes me want to click. That makes me want to click on their website. Now I want to point out something here so you understand. Look at their title tag. If you're trying to look for a title tag on your website or any website at all, look at the top left-hand corner of your browser. Whether it's Mozilla or Internet Explorer, that keyword phrase will show up there. So notice how they are doing a fabulous job of using Dentist Chicago, Cosmetic Dentist, Orthodontist Chicago. So now they get the keywords Chicago Cosmetic Dentist, Dentist Chicago Cosmetic, Chicago Orthodontist, Orthodontist Chicago. They have all those up in their keyword phrase in their title tag. So here's their little website. It's very clean, very basic. But you notice how they've done that. But they encourage the click because unlike everybody else, these other ones, they actually said web special, $1 exam, and I want to find it. Now, here you go, special web offer. That's a great deal to have a $1 exam. I don't understand how that works, so it makes me interested. It gets me intrigued. And so it's kind of interesting to figure out what this is all about, what they're about. but notice how you want to sell people on your click. And so you not only want to be slightly creative in your title tag if you can. If you cannot, don't worry about it, but use your meta description, because that's your opportunity to encourage people. If you do not use it, Google would just pull something at random. Like Google could say something like they might just pull something that says Chicago dentist orthodontics cosmetic dentist Chicago. Now they're kind of stuffing keywords up here, but it is working for them. But you notice that's what Google may have pulled if they didn't define an actual meta description. And so that's something for you to keep in mind, and as to why you need to use a meta description and why you want to use a meta description. So the meta tag should be used very carefully, but it should only include the page's main keyword phrase. So if that page on your website is targeting working capital financing, that should be in your meta keyword phrase. If that page is targeting the keyword phrase, wood nutcrackers, like the little dolls at Christmas, wooden nutcrackers, then that's what that page is targeting. If that page is targeting popcorn supplies or popcorn machines, then that's what it's targeting. If it's targeting antique popcorn machines, then that's what your meta tag keyword will say. But you also want to try to use it in your meta description, because, and the reason you use it is not as much for the search engine rankings, but it's more for relation. People typed in, you're trying to rank for a keyword phrase, antique popcorn popper, for example. Obviously, if they type that in, that's what they want to find. So if you include that in your enticing sentence, you could say, find the best variety of antique popcorn poppers here. So it gets your keyword phrase in there, but it grabs their attention. Because what will happen is Google will bold that keyword phrase if it's in your meta description. So it helps your listing stand out a little more in Google. Excuse me. So that kind of is, defined with meta descriptions here. And I apologize, I'm going long. I always go longer than I anticipate. There's just so much content here. So examples of good meta descriptions. Get in touch with a Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor that is both trustworthy and reliable. Now, I didn't do a good job proofreading that. I apologize. Working capital financing. What is working capital financing? Working capital financing is the lifeblood of your growing business. So it kind of, that one doesn't as much sell them, but it kind of informs them as to what it's about. And so they say, okay, I'll click for more info on that. Or, this one's more like, get in touch with Tulsa, Oklahoma chiropractor that's trustworthy and reliable. So you're like, okay, I like trustworthy, reliable people to do business with. So let's find somebody to do business with that's trustworthy and reliable. Or maybe it's something to the effect of, you have a free report on weight loss, 5 tips to losing weight. Maybe it's a free report on being a better bird watcher. Maybe it's a free report on rock climbing secrets. Whatever the case might be, download my free rock climbing shoes shopping guide or whatever. Put that in your meta description if you offer a report, because people like to get stuff for free. They like to be informed. So include those things in your meta description. Here's an example of the meta tag. I know that your eyes might be glazing over right now when you see this, but this is basically what I showed you here. I apologize. What I was showing you on that page when I was doing a file and I did the search for view source code on those pages. This is the kind of result that comes up. This is HTML code, but you can easily edit this code by just typing, replacing these keyword phrases. So when you have your own website, you would just use find and replace, use the view source code option on your web editor, like Microsoft Front Page. Once you're inside there, where it says title, put in your keywords. Where it says keywords and content, you're going to see that option. Type in your one keyword phrase for that page, and then where it says description content, type in your sentence in your meta description. So that's how you use meta tags. Now, header tags are a little bit different. I'm going to go check our time real quick. Make sure. Okay, so we're doing okay on time here. I'm going to try to go another about 30 minutes of content, or 20 or so minutes of content, and then we'll open up the floor for questions and answers. So header tags after title tags are extremely important to your on-page SEO. When I keep talking about on-page SEO, I'm talking about changes you can make to your website so that your website itself comes up higher in the search engines. In the HTML code, like the view source section of your web editor program, your header tags would look like this: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6 with the little caret symbols. That's what they would look like in your HTML code. For example, the H1 tag typically generates the largest font, so it's the most important one that the search engines look at. They will actually look pretty highly at your H1 tag. The header tags act like headlines on your web page, and so I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. Your header tags should look natural, and they'd be like subheadlines on your pages. So like a lot of sales pages have subheadlines, and even a lot of articles, like to break up the article, because we all know people have short attention spans online, and they want to get the information that they are there to look for. So you want to try to include that information in those headers, so they kind of draws them in to read more of your copy. But by doing so, you want to try to incorporate your keyword phrases somehow. So, for example, I'm a Washington State Cougar fan. I attended the school, and so here's an example. Your source for WSU Cougars gear. That's my keyword phrase. WSU Cougars gear. That would be like my H1 tag. Notice it's kind of big and it stands out at the top. And you can edit this by simply finding, inside your view source section, inside your content. You can also modify this within WordPress in the code view section, in the code view of WordPress. And again, if you need help with this, that's what we're here. That's what I'm here for. So you guys have access to me through email, and I want you to make sure you're reaching out to me to get your questions answered, because I do not want you to have any stumbling blocks. So your source for WSU Cougars gear. Your article would go here, so there's your article, and you have a short couple paragraphs to start off your article. And then you also hit them with another little subheadline. Buy WSU Cougars gear and save. So it gets the keyword phrase in there one more time, but this time it goes, inside the H2 tag. And so then your article continues there, and you don't have to use all 6 of them. You could only use 1, or you could use 2, or you could use 3, or whatever you want within that article, but it kind of breaks it up. But I'll show you here an example before I jump off here of a great site that does a fabulous job of using this. This is a guy who runs a site that's a phenomenal SEO guy. This site gets a lot of unique visitors each month, and they have some fabulous content, and it's a site that I actually support and do stuff with. It's a Christian website. So this site, they talk about, is the Bible true? They talk about notice how they're using their keyword phrase in their various subheadlines. And you can actually size your H1 and H2 tags so that they are not the exact same size. And I'm just pulling up this site just so you guys see an example of a fabulous way to use your header tags and how it kind of breaks up the content. So you notice here, that kind of draws people into what they're going to find on each paragraph. So like my WSU Cougars gear example, that, buy WSU Cougars gear would be here. Their keyword phrase on this page is the Bible true? And, that's the only keyword phrase. Notice that in their title tag. Notice that in their URL structure. Notice that right here. That's the only keyword phrase they're trying to focus on, and that gives you the best results possible. So I definitely want to show you that, as an example of what I meant by the header tag example. So you can jump right over here to internal link structure. So your website should be easily spidered by the search engines. If your site is not easily spidered by the search engines, then that means the search engine spiders and the search engines cannot find your site. Because the search engine spiders go out there to find websites, and they have a little, it's a little program, computer program they use that goes out there and picks up your website. You want them to find all your pages, and you do that by offering text-based links within your website. So you want to have text-based links for your website. So a great example here is Patronic.com. This is a site that I used to be a major owner in. I'm a very small part of it now. But it's a site that we get a lot of it, or actually all our traffic right now, basically through SEO traffic, search engine optimization. And you notice here that on the left hand side here, we've got our navigation, and it is all text-based links. These are all text links. And you notice how, you click on them and they go right over there. So what happens is the search engine spiders come in here and they will just eat up this content. So they would just come in here and they can follow these links all the way through to the internal pages of content. And they just go through these sites and they can pick up the content. So that's how text-based links are. That's what I'm referring to. These would be considered image links. Now, we are using image links, but that's because in the footer of our website, we also include the similar subject lines that you saw at the top, in the footer here. And so That is where that is showing up here. So you've got what you want to have is if you're going to use fancy navigation like using images or using JavaScript or something of that nature, you're going to want to also include it in the footer as a text-based link because the search engine spiders have the easiest time following text-based links. I'm not saying they can't follow image links, they can't follow JavaScript links. It just makes it more difficult, and they have no problem finding text-based links to find them. And one thing I want to draw your attention to is notice this clickable part of the link also is the main keyword phrase for that particular page. And what that does, that's called the anchor text. I know you've heard that said before, but anchor text is a very important aspect of search engine optimization because anchor text is what is the clickable part of the link. It's the clickable text. That's another way to talk about anchor text. And it should be your main key, that page's main keyword phrase should be in that anchor text. So for example, beeper callers. That page right here is all about beeper callers. You're going to notice here, beeper callers. That right there, it is actually text-based. That's an H1 tag. Right there, beeper callers. And then you'll notice here, beeper callers, dog beeper callers, dog training. Notice that in the title tag. Notice that in the breadcrumbs, so the search engines can find those breadcrumbs. And also in our URL structure. So it's very, very clean. It kind of just, it's very well optimized. And what happens though when you're doing this is, the actual website itself will rank higher in the search engines when basically it'll help these internal pages of your site rank when you're telling the search engine spiders what to expect. Like they know because beeper colors is in the anchor text that if they go through this text, they're going to find beeper colors. So it gives your site, your page, a little relevancy boost because on this page there's content about beeper colors because that's what's being sold here. Now you could also have text down here if you wanted to or other things, but this is a site that just sells products. So it's basically focused more on just products as content. So each one of these beeper colors, if you click on it, it goes even further, and you'll notice Dogtra 2500 T and B 400 yard training and beeper color. That's a brand of color. That's a specific keyword phrase. Dogtra, notice again in my title tag. I just want to keep reiterating these points to you so you understand how the search engine optimization all works together and why you want to have the relevancy. This page is very relevant for this keyword phrase. So that's something very important and essential for you to consider. You need to use anchor text when you link into pages within your site. The keyword should be part of the link. So right here is an example. Whoop, let me go right back here. This is what your link would look like. And this says, you could actually copy this down when you watch the recording. But inside your link, where it says your domain, that's your URL, that's your link. And then inside here, where it says Chicago Lawyer, that's like the keyword phrase. So if you are a lawyer in Chicago and you are linking to your website or to a page inside your website, you would want to try to link with the anchor text link because that gives you a powerful search engine boost. So that's a very important aspect of search engine optimization. You should have no more than 2 links from your home page to your internal pages. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you're using WordPress, for example, it does a great job already of providing good internal link structure. You want to use a sitemap and an RSS feed if possible, if at all possible with your website. So you do want to use a sitemap and an RSS feed if possible. So you want to include a sitemap, and I'll show you kind of an example. A sitemap will contain all of your links. So even if you don't have all your links in your navigation on your homepage, you want to have a sitemap link in the footer of the website so the search engines can find it. Sitemap links are all text-based links that basically help the search engine spiders come in and pick up all of your content all at once. So they come into that page and they find all that content which links to the pages on your site. So it enables them to find all your pages because it does you no good to have articles on your site. It doesn't matter how great the articles are. If the search engines can't find the articles, it's not going to give you the benefit that you are seeking. The URL structure in here, let me jump off here and quickly show you an example of an actual sitemap. So let me jump right over here. Here is a site that does a great job. Notice here in the footer, if you were to click on sitemap right here, it would take you into a page that has a sitemap. It's got a link to all their different pages on their website. So you notice here, bad credit business loans. If you clicked on that, this site's actually broken down into several different sitemaps. But basically, you get the idea here of how a sitemap works. You can access a sitemap from the footer of the website. That's usually the most convenient place to put it. So it's a text-based link that the search engines will look for and grab, and they will use that. Another thing that will function very similar to how a sitemap will function for you is the RSS feed. And if you're using WordPress, by default, your site will have an RSS feed. Your URLs or links should contain your main keyword in it. So for example, it should be like yourdomainname.com / Miami pest control. So if you are a pest control service in Miami, or maybe you have a site related to pest control and you're just targeting different, so maybe it's like, floridapestcontrol.com, and then you have subpages related to each different city and the keyword phrase pest control. That's just an example here. So floridapestcontrol.com / Orlando Pest Control. Floridapestcontrol.com / let's just say Jacksonville Pest Control. Different cities in Florida. And then you get the idea, Tampa Bay pest control. The reason you want to try to use the dashes within those links is because the search engines will actually look at the dashes as actually spaces, and so it actually will give you another spot where your keyword phrase will show up in the search engines. So for example here, if you had a site about tennis and you have a subpage about Wilson tennis rackets, it'd be like Wilson-tennis-rackets. Just like you saw on that pet site that I was showing you, for example, notice how the keyword phrase, there's a separation there. So the next thing here, I just want to make sure everybody still hears. Okay, so the next thing you do here is you want to make sure that you have your keyword phrase separated by the dash. And if you have WordPress, you want to use the permalinks from WordPress to do this. So you want to name your HTML. You also want to name your HTML files in your web editor, and you want to do this on your future pages. So if you're using, let's say you're using front page, for example, and you go to File, Save As, because that's how you save your pages when you create them. Just save it as, Miami-pest-control, your keyword here, you get the idea. So I'll show you here real quick how to use the permalinks within WordPress. So let me just go right over here to paulcounts.com / go to my administration side of things. And let me actually use a more recent website here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to quickly use this in WordPress, the permalink structure, and then we're getting to the point of wrapping things up for this particular training. We'll open up for questions and try to have about 30 minutes or so for Q&A time. So what we've got here is if we come right over here to right inside of your WordPress, you're going to see on the left hand side it's going to say Settings, and you want to just click on Settings. And then inside Settings, you want to click on Permalinks. And once you've clicked on Permalinks, it's going to have a default structure right here. You want to select Custom Structure. And inside Custom Structure, you want to type in / and then you want to do the %, which you hit that by doing the Shift and hitting the number 5 key. And then you want to type in the word post name. And then you want to do %, and then /. And what that will do is that will create search engine friendly links for your WordPress. And so by doing so, what it does then is it basically takes and puts the dash in between each of your keyword phrases. So it makes the custom structure show up correctly for your individual keyword phrases. So that's exactly what it does, and that's how you use that. So it's just you log into your WordPress. This is WordPress 2.7. Go under Settings and choose Permalinks, and then choose your custom structure. And then the next thing that you're going to do then is you're going to go right over one other thing inside WordPress that I just want to point out to you real fast while I'm back here. Notice here under the general settings, notice here it says blog title. Even if you don't have the all-in-one SEO plugin installed, you can put in your keyword phrase inside the blog title, and that will give your overall site the main keyword phrase. And then usually by default, even just with the default setting, WordPress will actually put your main keyword phrase inside the article titles of your individual post. But if you actually are using the all-in-one SEO plugin, I'll show you how to use that when you're adding new content. So if you're right here and you chose add new content, and this is going back to the example, so you write in your article title, you write in your article, and then you scroll down to where it says all-in-one SEO pack, and that's the plugin you're going to want to write down. It's all ALLIN1ONE SEO pack. And then where it says title, you could actually put in whatever title tag you want using the examples I showed you from the training. For the description, you put in your nice meta description, because that will enable the search engines to possibly, you can entice people. You can sell the click within the search engines because you can create your meta description that way. And then you can put in your keywords, separate your meta keywords, which in this case is just the main keyword phrase you're trying to go after. So that is how you do, the URL structure. And so the next little bit here, we're almost done here, I promise. So that's how you do your URL structure. You want to try to do dashes to separate things. Now, content structure. This is very important. Your articles on your site should contain your main keywords near the beginning of them. So you want to write your articles so they're unique, so they're relevant, so they have high quality content. But you really, in order to tell the search engines that an article is relevant for a particular keyword phrase, like let's say the article is on Wilson tennis rackets. If you don't mention Wilson tennis rackets in the first paragraph or two, it's not going to look very relevant to Google, nor to the person using it. So you want to look out for your users, because they're there to find a Wilson tennis racket. So if your site happens to come up for that keyword phrase, because you've used it in your title tag and your URL structure, but you don't talk about Wilson tennis rackets till paragraph 3, it's not going to do your users any good. So because they may think, well, I didn't, I'm not finding the content I'd hoped to find on this page, for example. So, in your content structure, you would have like the title of your little article on that page be an H1 tag. And in case you're wondering, if you're using WordPress, and I keep talking about it, but WordPress will automatically put the main title, it goes right into an H1 tag by default. So that's something for you to keep in mind. So it's already done for you whenever you create your post. So that's why it's important to try to incorporate your keyword phrase in your article titles within WordPress. And if you're just using standard HTML to do your sites, that's not a problem at all. Just go ahead and put in your main keyword phrase in there. And so you want to try to have your main keywords, your main keyword phrase, so if it's Wilson tennis racket, you want to try to mention it at least one time or so in that first paragraph. Now, there's nothing. Articles should be broken apart with the header tags in between if possible. Not only will that help your readers, because it will actually kind of break things up, because it's really hard on websites. People don't want to sit there and read 500 words at once. They like to have little subheadings and things. So try to break it up when you're doing your articles on your site. You should try to include your main keyword once or twice in the first paragraph, and place it anywhere that makes sense in the next paragraphs. And that's an important statement I'm making. It needs to make sense. You do not want to write content that doesn't flow and that doesn't make sense. So, I would not sit there and talk all about, let's say Tulsa chiropractors. I wouldn't say, find the best Tulsa chiropractors. Tulsa chiropractors are the bomb. Tulsa chiropractors are trustworthy. Tulsa chiropractors this. Tulsa chiropractors that. That doesn't flow well. So you do not want to stuff with keywords. Not only will that get, a little red flag to the search engines that you're trying too hard to optimize, but it's also going to send a red flag to your readers that you don't care enough about them to write good content. So you need to write good, solid content that they're going to read, actually. That's very important. So it needs to be search engine friendly, solid content. Try to include your main keyword in the last paragraph of the article if possible to kind of close it out. That's just kind of well-rounded approach to getting that content on there. So you want to include one or two times in the first paragraph, where it makes sense in the middle paragraphs, and then try to close out with that keyword phrase. And that's going to kind of give you that nice balance of relevancy, and only include it at the end if it makes sense. If it flows in your close, put it in there. If not, don't use it. Don't say, well, Paul said I need to have it, so you write it in there. Just do it if it makes sense. That's the important thing, is use your keyword as it makes sense, but use it. A lot of times people, well, they may not try to use it. So it's important to try to incorporate your keyword phrase in your content, but don't overuse it. Don't abuse it. Use it, but don't abuse it. That kind of rhymed. Perfect keyword density is an absolute myth. I know a lot of SEO people might be seeing that going, hey, but it's a myth. There's no such thing as perfect keyword density. Not only will it waste your time because you're going to be sitting there calculating, according to my calculations, or whatever, I've got 500 words of content and I've got the keyword 20 times, and so I need to have a keyword density of 0.113 or whatever. There's no such thing. Don't bother with that. Don't worry about a percentage. There's really no set percentage. If your article makes sense to you, if you can read it out loud, or if you can read your own article and it makes sense, if it reads like you speak, then it's good enough to go. If it reads like you speak and it really gives good content, good information, then it's good. You just want to try to include your keyword phrase because it makes sense. Because if your article is relevant about a subject, obviously it's going to include your keyword phrase. So really, there's no science behind that part of it, or really any of this SEO that I'm showing you. It's just a matter of putting things in good locations. And so don't worry about perfect keyword density. Just write good solid content. You could write 5 articles in the time it take you to sit there and calculate keyword density of one. So sit there and write those 5 articles because that's going to do better for you. And then read your content and make sure it flows and makes sense. Just don't insert keywords because you think you have to. Don't abuse keywords though. Don't overuse them. If you have to, err on the low side of using them, but still use them. I can't stress that part enough. Make sure they're in there because it makes sense. Don't get caught up with it at all. Write for humans and not for search engines, and the search engines will appreciate your content. Like I said at the beginning, the search engines are there. They want to partner with you. They want to show your content to their visitors, believe it or not. And it's not that they want you to succeed, but basically, if you succeed, they will succeed because as you come up there, you're going to write more good content. They want to show your site, and I'm not saying that they're going to signal you out and pick just your site because there's tons of competing sites, but it will by default signal you out because a lot of sites are not focusing on basic SEO principles. They want to provide their users with good results and good information. So if you send people to a site with good information, high value content that's search engine friendly, then you will be just fine. And yes, it does take a little bit of work for SEO, but it's not all that bad, as I hope you saw here. Try to write unique and relevant articles for your individual website. That's very important. Target one keyword phrase per article. So don't try to target every single keyword phrase that you saw on that list, within your title tags and things. If you have a list of 30 different keyword phrases and they're all in a similar niche, maybe it's all about rock climbing shoes and you have 20 different keyword phrases that you could go after. Try to write 20 different articles on rock climbing shoe, the variations of those keyword phrases. If you can, if you can write good content on only 5 of those 20 keyword phrases, then only use 5 of those because you can write, because there's no sense in writing, having 20 spammy articles on your site, if they're all real short, low value content. But if, let's say you have 20 keyword phrases related to rock climbing shoes, and you could easily pull out of 20 keyword phrases 5 solid articles, and then target each one around one or two, one mainly specific keyword phrase that you use in your title tag, that you use in your URL link, that you use in your headings, and that you try to use inside your content. And you do those things, you're going to be just fine. And then you link to those, when you're doing WordPress, it will automatically add your content to an RSS feed and a sitemap for using the Google Sitemap plugin, so it will be found. If you're using a static HTML site, just put the link, in the sitemap and make sure you have a sitemap on your footer. And then the search engines will help find that new content. And if you want to, and you're using a static HTML site, use the content we talked about in that first video that has been uploaded for you, where it talks about using pingamatic.com or another site.